Hello, Internet, and thank you very much for tuning into the Clouded FM podcast, a channel where we dive deep into the building block of modern software delivery. I'm your host, Saim Safdur, and today we are exploring a topic that sits at the intersection of DevOps, metrics, and platform engineering. How do we enable platform engineering KPIs using DORA Metrics? Recently, I get an opportunity to co-authoring the Cloud Native Platform Associate certification with the collaboration of Linux Foundation and the CNCF. The significant portion of the exam covers the DORA metrics. And thankfully so, I have some wonderful guest in front of me who's leading this activity at the Google Cloud. So allow me introduce you, Nathen Harvey, who leads the DORA team at Google Cloud. Thank you very much for your first appearance on this show. Nathen, over to you.
Thank you so much for having me, Simon. I'm so excited to be here. And yes, as you mentioned, I lead up DORA here at Google Cloud. DORA is a research program that looks into how do teams get better at delivering and operating software and really using technology to drive great customer outcomes and great business outcomes while also improving the well-being for people on teams. So it's an area that I'm very passionate about, and I'm thankful to be joining you today to help share some of the insights that we have from the DORA research program.
Awesome, absolutely. And I think one of the common thing between me and my nephew is Dora, because Dora used to be a wonderful cartoon series. And whenever I speak about Dora, he really impressed by the thing that something we have a similar vocabulary. But we're not talking about the cartoon series, we're talking about the Dora metrics for deployment frequency, lead time for changes, change failure rate, and the failed deployment recovery time as well. But Nathen will tell us a brief more about it. But first thing first, Nathen, can you tell us what's happening? Because you've been leading the DORA community for a very long time. I know you have some thoughts around it. And if somebody is really new to the DORA community, give us a quick pitch around that.
Yeah, for sure. Like I mentioned, DORA is a research program that's been running for a while. It's actually been running for over a decade now. And the research is really, really impactful and important because it helps us really understand how teams are working. And as part of our research, we publish reports at least every year. And in fact, we published one back in October, and we just recently published another one in March that's all about the impact of AI and generative AI on software development. The research is great. But research and publications aren't really helpful if nobody does anything with them. And so, in addition to the research and publications that we have, DORA has a community of practitioners and leaders and researchers that all come together to try to understand how do we take this research, put it into our own context, and then put it into practice to drive real change. And we welcome anyone to join the DORA community. You can find it at dora.community. So it's pretty easy to find. But there we have a mailing list, and we get together regularly for online virtual meetings. And in these virtual meetings, we're discussing all kinds of topics. Recent topics include things like how do we help teams get better or drive better user centricity, really focusing our efforts on the users. We've had recent talks about code review processes. How do you improve code reviews? And about resilience engineering. How do we improve the resilience of our teams and our systems so, again, we can really deliver value to our customers? So I love the community because it is an opportunity for all of us to come together and learn from each other, share with one another, and really drive our understanding and our practices forward.
Absolutely, and I think one of the thing I love about Google, some Google team in particular, they have been a wonderful innovators of some wonderful technologies out there, some framework principle as well. Kubernetes is one of that example. Under that Kubernetes, there are a bunch of wonderful projects that originated from the Google, like Tecton CD. There are some image building tool, image scanning tool, some scaffolding tool, Kubernetes distribution, secret management. Istio and blah blah blah. So they have been some wonderful innovator of the newest technologies, the newest paradigm of developing software as well. So I think DORA is also the same thing that been running from the Google team, and they have some wonderful practitioner, principal, and also expert around that topic as well. And I think right now we live in the DevOps unification with platform engineering word. So it's a kind of a very blurry word for some of the people. Some things, oh no, we have platform engineering, now we need some different set of mechanism for the platform engineering. How do DORA shift into it as well? So this is a wonderful time for me to chat some good discussion around that as well. But first thing first, Nathan, we learned about the community in particular. I will include all the links to the reference so people can click on the link and see what's been going on in the community. And I would like to see more and more people joining the community, and they tell their their real world experience on that community call, so that we can have more momentum forward. But first thing first, let us know, like, if you talk to some of the engineering leaders, some newer companies, some DevOps engineer, how you are pitching DORA to them today.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think, as I mentioned, DORA is all about how do we help teams deliver software. And when you think about it, it's the delivery of software where software first actually provides value. It is important that we have good engineering practices to build the right things and to build them well. But software that runs only on your laptop doesn't actually provide a whole lot of value to anyone. We have to get that software into the production environment where real users can interact with it and get value from that. And now it can be very generic, some of the words that I'm saying, right? Users getting value from your software. Well, this is intentional because it really depends on what sort of business are you trying to run? What are you trying to accomplish with your application? The software that you're running might be an e-commerce website, it might be a banking site, it might just be an informational site where you're trying to build community or share some information. All of that is fine, but in all of those instances, the real value happens when you're able to get software to your users where they can interact with it. And so this is really sort of the center of gravity for DORA is around software delivery performance. Now, one of the things that we also do within DORA is we try to understand how do various capabilities, conditions, techniques, how do they impact other parts of our system? And one of the things that we've seen over the years is that teams and organizations who are good at delivering software also tend to have better organizational outcomes, things like profit and revenue and customer satisfaction, but they also have better well-being for the people on their teams, higher job satisfaction for individual employees, less burnout for individual employees. All of these things are really great things that you and I want for ourselves and our organization wants, and hopefully we want them for our organization. So if we can focus on improving software delivery performance, that should lead to better outcomes.
Absolutely, 100%. I think because software delivery is still a huge challenge these days as well. I think a lot of the vocabulary always shifting all the time. There's a multiple stakeholder involved in it. Building a software on your in your local system is easy, but shipping it to the customer it's hard because a lot of the stakeholder involved. Then you need to actually make sure a lot of the practices, principle, policies are enabled while moving into the production pipeline, and things broke all the time. I think we never find a situation where things aren't broke. I think they broke today, they will broke tomorrow, and they will in the future as well. But we need to understand what is the first thing I need to fix first, and that's what I really like about the approach of the DORA. They tell you the deployment frequency, and somehow you can actually understand the systems in a very granular way, because it's had some very complicated task, some very simpler task, and some intermediary task in between them as well. So I think it's a very, very good to see like something exists today, and we wanted to have, I think, more momentum in that forward as well, because now with the AI, the breaking of the pipeline is a far better far extensive fear than in ever before as well. So I think I would love to see the more people, more organization, more individual, and more contributor know this DORA as a community and the DORA as a principle and practices for deploying the software delivery as well. But
yeah, you talk. Sorry, go ahead.
no, Nathen, you can add if
Oh,
you.
yeah, I was just going to say we've talked about software delivery performance, and you've mentioned those DORA metrics. And those metrics are really important because they help us look at the outcome of the system, of our software delivery or our engineering practices. What are we actually able to deliver? And just to go over those metrics really, really quickly here, we kind of look at software delivery performance and measuring it under two different facets or two different views of that. The first is throughput. How fast can you move change through your system? And for that, we use two measures. Your change lead time, which essentially asks how long does it take for a commit or a change of any kind to go from committed to the version control system all the way through to production. And then how frequently are you updating production? That's your deployment frequency. So change lead time and deployment frequency. That's your throughput metrics. On the stability side, because yes, we want to move fast, but we also want our systems to be stable, we have two more metrics. The change failure rate. So if you look at how many times you've done deployments, how many of those deployments have caused you to freak out a little bit? Oh no, something's gone wrong. We need to roll back that deployment or push forward a hot fix. That's our change failure rate. We want to keep that percentage as low as possible. But of course, as you said, things are breaking all the time. We shouldn't expect to have 0% change failure rate. Something's going to break. It's not a question of if, it's really a question of when. And the answer to when is probably, right now. There's something always is broken, maybe in just a small way that users don't notice. That's good, but sometimes in larger ways. But back to our metrics. When you have one of those change failures, the final measure we have is what we call the failed deployment recovery time. So when you've pushed something that has impacted users and you need to act right now, how long does it take before your system is back to working for your users? Now, taken together, these four metrics can be used to measure any type of technology that you're delivering. So this is what makes them really, really powerful. It doesn't matter if you're working on a mobile application, a website, even a mainframe application. You can measure software delivery performance using those four measures. And then interestingly, oftentimes teams think that throughput and stability are trade-offs of one another. I can either be fast or I can be stable. But the truth is, what our data has shown us year in and year out for over a decade is that those throughput and stability measures tend to move together. So the teams that are performing best have the highest levels of throughput and stability, and the teams with the most opportunity to improve have very low throughput and very low stability. Now, this is all really helpful because it helps you understand sort of how are we doing today. But what those measures can't tell you is what do you need to do tomorrow? How do you improve? And this is where the research goes even deeper. The research looks into, as I mentioned, capabilities and conditions that enable better software delivery performance. We kind of look across a wide gamut of different capabilities and conditions. Technical capabilities, things like, are you using version control? Are you practicing continuous integration? Have you automated your deployments? But it goes beyond that. It also looks at process. What sort of processes do you have within your organization? Like, as an example, what is the approval process for a change? Does it have to go through code review? Are there other approvals, other sign-offs that it has to get before it goes into production? And then we also look at the real people aspects or the culture of the organization. For example, what happens when something goes wrong? Is there a bunch of finger pointing and are we playing the blame game? No, it's not my fault, it's your fault. It's your fault. Or do we take that failure as an opportunity to learn something new about how our system works and how we can improve in the future? At the end of the day, it's those capabilities and conditions that matter the most because when you identify where you have weaknesses, that gives you an opportunity to improve. And so now you can almost write a hypothesis. We believe that by improving our continuous integration practices, that's going to drive better software delivery performance, which are measured by those four measures we talked about. And as we improve those measures, we're going to improve well-being for the people on our team and our organizational performance.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think you actually make it more easier for me to ask some question around the new shift. Because currently, as you mentioning wonderfully, throughput, stability, capabilities, and the action. I think right now what's happening is because we live in the DevOps world where a lot of the people feel like it's a huge cultural shift, making them everyone
Mhm.
comfortable and work with DevOps is a dream that some companies never ever able to actually accomplish that. And then the people find out there's always been a ticketing system. When I push my code from one machine to the different machine, I need to tell some different layers of the within the organization, oh, now I'm ready, things are working perfectly in my machine, let's move into the another system. That's where we see some of the dependencies problem. Some call it dependency from the health, and this then some call it the matrix problem, where we never know like which machine I'm developer my code and which machine that my code is running. So those is one of the very fiercest time. I even live in those time as well, so I see all of the pain as well. Now we live in the world with the platform engineering come into the picture and saying the promise, oh, we never think about the technology aspect. It is very important, but how do we actually align within our team that how they can accomplish some of their tasks of moving their code from different systems and the different machines. And now we still have the DORA metrics. And that's where I see a lot of the confusion now. We move from the DevOps into the platform engineering, with the platform engineering telling us the visibility angle, and there are some more metrics in the horizon as well. I'll ask some question around how those are different from the DORA. But first thing first, if some people, because I heavily involved in the platform engineering, I work with the CNCF on the platform engineering maturity model. So Nathan, you also live in the Google Cloud. I know there's a lot of discussion being moving around in the platform engineering. First thing, but how you convince people, like, is it a platform, how DevOps and platform engineering are different? And on the same point, do you think DORA is enough for both of these domains?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, look, when it comes to the differences between platform engineering and DevOps, I think that they're at least cousins, maybe even siblings, maybe even they're the same thing. They're so very close to one another. I think that the sort of the devil is in the details, as they say, right? It really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. But at the end of the day, I think the goals of the two are the same. We're trying to leverage technology to drive our businesses forward, to serve our customers better. That's what really matters. And some of them have to do with, look, DevOps to me is all about collaboration. It's about building those bridges and creating those collaboration and automation opportunities across different teams. Platform engineering, oh, it's the same thing. We're collaborating. We're building a platform on which applications will run. We need to collaborate with the application owners, and we're almost an enabling function for those application owners. As you talked about, we want to help those application teams who are writing code, building applications. We want to help make it easy for them to get those applications running in test environments, in production environment. We want to make sure that those applications are running in a resilient way, and all of that is built in. So we're kind of separating some of the cognitive load, if you will, so that an application developer can focus on their application and let the platform engineering team focus on things like pipeline, things like the underlying infrastructure. And then when it comes to DORA, is DORA enough? Well, I would say that the DORA metrics, those software delivery performance metrics, they aren't enough, but they are super useful. So if you're on the platform engineering team, there's actually two different ways that you should think about those DORA metrics. One, as you're thinking about software delivery performance for the platform, how frequently are you changing the platform? How stable is the platform? DORA metrics can help you measure that software delivery performance. But also, as part of the platform engineering team, one of your goals should be to enable the application teams to have better software delivery performance. So you want to look at those four measures for the applications that are running on top of your platform, or the customers of your platform, if you will. So you use those metrics to help you understand how things are going, but then how do you improve? How do you get better? Well, some of those capabilities and conditions that we talked about, continuous integration, deployment automation. These are all things that you can build into the platform to enable those application teams. So there's a lot of things going on here, and certainly lots of metrics that you'll want to use across the board. But those software delivery performance metrics are a great place to start.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think, as you mentioned rightfully, being the goal of the platform engineering team is actually to enable the developer who are self-service their need. Because what's happening in the previous era is every time I need something from the cloud, I raise a ticket to the DevOps team and they help me give some permission, and then I deploy something. That's where I needed to deploy. But then we figure it out. Now we're writing anything as code, infrastructure, application, everything, even the security pipeline written as code. Why not we give autonomy a developer who can deploy stuff whatever they like to deploy into it? And that's where there's a faster delivery and faster time to market, because you don't have a bottleneck between moving and asking for all the time that I need this, let's set up for me, and then you consume it out. And rightfully so. So if the job of the platform engineering is to enable developer to be a self-sufficient with their actions and their capability, yes, then still DORA is a very useful matrix. And I see it. I think that's the same way that the Nathen described to us. I think it's a very wonderful way to think about one aspect of the DORA as well. But Nathen, as of the industry right now, we live in a world like now we have there are so many frameworks out there. And one could ask a question like, oh, I started my development as I started a new company. Now I'm actually have some 10-20 customers in my bottleneck, and I want my company to adopt DORA Metrics. So the question around why, if they have to be using a path of certification, and if they want their company to adopt to the DORA Metrics, what are the key indicator for some companies if they are using DORA Metrics? So what are those indicators are? If those indicators are not in place, what are the way to enable them?
Yeah, this is a good question. So when do you start with DORA metrics? And I think it's important to remember that DORA metrics have that center of gravity around software delivery performance. And so I would say the time to start with measuring your software delivery performance is, well, let's be honest, you're probably not going to start measuring it until after it hurts. Right? So once you find pain in your delivery process, you feel like you're building lots of things, but you're having a lot of trouble just getting those things into the hands of customers. This is almost too late, but a good time. It's better late than never, as they say, to start measuring your software delivery performance, because you really want to understand how are things going, so that when you make changes, improvements to the system, let's be honest, an improvement, you don't actually know if that's an improvement or not if you don't have a way to measure that. So we want to set a baseline so we understand how's our software delivery performance going today. And then as a team, we have a conversation about what can we improve? What can we do to improve those measures? It might be that we need to speed up our code reviews. It might be that we need better automated testing. I don't know, but you do. Your team knows what hurts today. So then you're going to make some investment in that and improve that area, and then go back and remeasure those software delivery performance metrics, and you should see that they're improving. That's really the goal.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I kind of a recap. If something has been broken out, you pick up some of the capabilities that the DORA provides to you, and then you enable them within your organization. As the stuff has been broken prior to implementing or using DORA, and then you look at it, what is the aftermath of the impact of when you actually enable DORA, and you find something different, like your deployment frequency is far better than it's before, and that's an indicator that's now you have something in the DORA you are using and implementing it in the production pipeline, and things are improving, and then you gradually improve upon to using some other metrics in the DORA system as well. So I think
yes, that's right. And DORA is at the end of the day, our tagline is get better at getting better. DORA is a journey of continuous improvement. And just like you said earlier, like you're never done on this journey. There's always something more to improve. It's like the horizon sitting out there. We're headed towards the horizon, but we're never going to make it to the horizon. And so we really encourage with DORA this philosophy and the mindset and the practice of continuous improvement, always questioning the status quo. What could we do to improve? And what's stopping us? Let's go try that.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And I think if somebody who's listening to us right now, because we live in a world, I can ask, there are some patterns and the frameworks out there. When you implement it, there are some commercial tooling also available in that. Also, I live in the policy side of the thing. So the policies tell you you have to enable these four capabilities in your security pipeline. And then there are some solution exist that told you, yes, these are actually being added in the pipeline, and now you're good to go. So if somebody
Mhm.
thinks around the same paradigm shift, now I have DORA. Is there something a tool or commercial tool or the commercial vendor I enable them in my organization?
For sure. So DORA's research itself is program and platform agnostic. So we don't look at specific tools as much as capabilities and practices. That said, there are lots of tools out there that will help you measure those software delivery performance metrics and go beyond that to really help you understand sort of how's your software engineering practices, what are they looking like? Some of those tools are commercial, some of them are open source. There's also within the CD Foundation, there's a project called CD Events. CD Events is a framework that you can use to emit data throughout your delivery pipeline, and then you can use that data to get things like your software delivery performance metrics, as well as a bunch of other metrics that might point to bottlenecks within your system that you want to go and improve.
Awesome, wonderful. Thank you very much for telling us. I think the CD event is one of the very wonderful, my favorite tool in the CD Foundation landscape as well, because it's an event-driven philosophy. Is now it's been populating everywhere. Like I see, there's a tool eventually popping up in the Dapper from the Microsoft that's do the same
Mhm.
kind of a philosophy of event-based approach of action and their consequences and when to apply, when to integrate, when to call upon, because we live in the container era. So that's where we can actually go for the efficient compute and efficient use of the resources. And I think CD event is one of them that we talk about. So I will include the link so people can actually see what
Great.
we're talking about, so people can go about it as well. So Nathan, I won't take much of your time. I definitely wrap you up for another podcast because this topic is always one of my favorite topic. I live in the DevOps world. We share a common place in the some of the Linux Foundation and in the contribution side of the thing and the CNCF side of the thing. So just a final question to wrap things around. Now we live in the world where there are so many frameworks out there. There are some frameworks specially dedicated to the platform engineering and also the developer experience side of the things like Space, Monk,
Mhm.
Hard, a bunch of other out there. So if I ask you how you differentiate a DORA from other metrics out there and how people can intersect those to fulfill the bigger umbrella.
Yeah, there is a proliferation of metrics frameworks that are out there. And at the end of the day, I'll be honest with you, I don't care which metrics framework you use. You should use whichever metrics are going to give you enough insights to change. Because the metrics aren't the important thing. It's the change and the improvement work that you're doing with your team. When it comes to metrics, I'm a strong proponent that metrics are a way to start a conversation. If you're not having a conversation about the metrics, if you're not asking questions, if you're not designing changes that you want to make to your systems, to your process, with your teams, then those metrics aren't useful to you. So you should stop measuring them. So it's really about identifying the metrics that are going to help you drive change within your organization. I would say that you should start with the smallest number of metrics possible to show that you're willing and able to change. And this is part of why I think the DORA metrics framework is pretty good, because with those software delivery performance metrics, there are only four. Four is pretty easy. And in fact, you don't need a dashboard to look after 4 metrics, you can start with a simple conversation with your team, because your team today probably knows exactly how they're doing across those 4 metrics. So yes, overall, we do want to have good metrics so that we can have baselines, we can make changes, and we can observe how things go. But don't forget, the reason we have metrics is to drive change and to drive improvement. And that's what really matters more than capturing precise, comprehensive metrics.
Absolutely, and I think I can think about as because we live in a tool where some tools tell you yes you are breaking this thing, then you enable something, and then the tool tells you you actually break something, and then you told it you are not 130, we are not good at accurately enabling the CI/CD side of the things. You're breaking stuff as you move along. That's frustrated me because it's told me that I'm actually lacking something, but it doesn't told me where is actually I'm being actually need to focus on more. It doesn't tell me any remediation tool, and that you're actually rightfully calling out, because I love this analogy. You can collect some metric and start making some action, because if you don't make an action into it, you are not actually improving. You're not improving what's happening within your organization. So I think it's important you can pick few of the metrics and then analyze it on the weekly or daily or monthly and yearly basis, what things has been improved and what next. That is frustratingly important and actually need our immediate intervention, or do you have some remediation step on the fly as well? So I would love to see, I think some people, some organization has some remediation out of those metrics that told you you're breaking stuff, this is the way to improve upon, and then you add something in the production pipeline that enables you to control it. So I would love to see more and more organization. I know it's a bit of a very well wish to have those kind of capabilities, but at least we have a DORA framework that told us these kind of capabilities to go about. So Nathen,
That's right.
last and final question. We have live in a DevOps, platform engineering, and SRE world. So tell us briefly, in those three domains, which part of the DORA matrix is actually extremely important to all of these three domains?
I think it is. I think all of the metrics are extremely important to those domains. When you talk about SRE, SRE, again, it's all about running reliable systems for your users. You can't run a reliable system if you cannot change that system. And so software delivery is the mechanism by which we change systems. So platform engineering enables that change. Site reliability engineering helps with that change, and it has more of a focus maybe on running reliable services, but that's not distinct from what platform engineering is trying to do, nor what DevOps is trying to do. At the end of the day, I think labels matter and what we call ourselves matter, but what matters even more than that is that we're collaborating together. We have empathy for one another, and we're all aligned towards delivering against the same outcomes. That's what matters most.
Absolutely, 100%. And Nathen, and I know there are a bunch of people are lacking this DORA conversation in their companies. And if some of those are listening to us, what is your pitch to them so they can start adding these conversation within their organization?
Yeah, my pitch is, look, these types of conversations and what DORA brings to you is a way to help improve the well-being of everyone on your team and to drive better business outcomes. With that in mind, head over to dora.dev, grab our latest reports and research, and start reading those. You're going to find things that are relevant to you. You're going to find things that are relevant to your team and to your leaders. And start sharing those information with all of those people. Start driving those conversations. You don't even have to say the word DORA. You just have to want to improve.
Absolutely. That's a wonder way to phrase the conversation as well. So I will be recapping because I loved all the conversation I had with Nathen, because he actually convinces me at least why this conversation is important. And we love this conversation to have to be more uniquely available to the different people with a different geography and where the teams are actually living in. So for me, DORA metrics remain valuable, but for the platform teams or the DevOps team, context is everything. It's time we evolve our metrics to capture what really matters, enabling team to move faster, safer, and with great autonomy. If you enjoy today's episodes, subscribe, share, and don't forget to explore our show notes for deeper dives. Thank you very much, Nathen. We will hope to meet you again because your knowledge is wonderful in this domain, and I will have more questions that I will be asking in the near future. But thank you very much for being with us on this episode.
Thank you so much for having me. Goodbye, everyone.